This is CES MMA.
Welcome back to Twin River Casino. Gold Rush presented by Classic Entertainment and Sports. Live professional mixed martial arts. We moved up now to the middleweight division. 185 pounds to be exact. And right now you're taking a look at another debut fighter, Scott, coming out of Boston, Mass, fighting out of Intense MMA, Cheyenne Vasquez.
And you're seeing John Howard switching shirts to get corner another fighter.
Some guys wear a lot of hats. John Howard wears a lot of shirts on a nightly basis on any MMA show. So right now he's Team Vasquez. We're about to see his debut. A pretty solid amateur career, 2-1 record. Fought his last amateur bout in March. Won by knockout over Jacob Cameron. In fact, knocked him out with a kick. So we'll see if the footwork is a factor tonight.
Well, he's got a tough fight in Terrell Clark. Terrell coming out of the Dragon's Lair, so this should be a really good matchup.
Terrell Clark won his debut in February right here at Twin River as well, beating Adam Quinn by first-round knockout.
Again, like we were talking about earlier, if you're making your pro debut here at CES, you're one of the higher-level amateurs coming in for your pro debut.
And Vasquez would certainly fit that category. 23 years old, again, fighting out of Boston. Getting some last-minute instructions from the official. And of course, we did see Terrell Clark here in February, took on Adam Quitt. Clark, 25 years of age, fought a fighter much older, closer to 40, which, as we know, Scott, doesn't make a difference when you get in there.
Well, it does to some guys, and some guys it doesn't, and I just hope it doesn't.
Hard to judge. The Clark fight against Quitt did not last too long, so you didn't really get to glean too much information from what we could expect from Clark. But we do know, fighting out of Dragon's Lair, it's a factory for mixed martial arts in Framingham, Mass.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid school. They have a decent jiu-jitsu base. You know, overall, they're very well-rounded.
Clark fired up on his way to the cage.
It looks like he's got quite the contingent of young folks with him, too, which is great to see.
Got some kids and got some pros as well. I think you see Aldo Santos, who's all going to be fighting later tonight on this card as well.
Correct.
Making his return to the cage. And of course, also out of Dragon's Lair, Saul the Spider Almeida. So there are so many different kind of fighters from that gym. Some gyms, Scott, I think get a stigma for what they might produce.
I agree with what you're saying sometimes.
But not Dragon's Lair.
Well, it's very well-rounded, and I think it's one of those things where myself owning my own gym and stuff, you have to teach to that fighter specifically. You can't kind of cookie cut. And I think a lot of gyms at one time or another get into this cookie cutter mentality. This is the way we do things. When you really have to be more dynamic, work to your fighter, what your fighter's strengths and weaknesses are, work on them, and then therein lies the diversity. A guy like Saul is a ground guy. He likes to take you down, grind you out, get his wins that way. When you turn around and see Terrell just likes to try to put his hands on you early.
Right. A striker at heart. We'll see some of that on display tonight against Cheyenne Vasquez and, of course, Saul Almeida, the complete opposite. So a very well-rounded school, Dragon's Lair. They also have several other fighters on this card tonight. We did mention Aldo Santos as well. We'll see him later on. But right now, we take a look at the tail of the tape. Cheyenne Vasquez and Terrell Clark both clocking in at 185. Vasquez training out of Intense MMA in Boston, and Clark again out of the Dragon's Lair in Framingham. Let's send it down to Bill Carpenter for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Patron Tequila bout. We're scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds of cage fighting middleweights. Your referee is Kevin McDonald. Introducing the red corner, wearing black trunks, weighing in at 185 pounds. He is making his pro debut, representing Intense MMA from Boston, Massachusetts. Please welcome Cheyenne Vasquez. Across the cage to my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black and white trunks. He tipped the scales at 185 pounds. He was a knockout winner in his pro debut, representing the Dragon's Lair and fighting out of Framingham, Massachusetts. Ladies and gentlemen, Terrell Clark. 3 5-minute rounds in the cage.
Round number 1 underway. Cheyenne Vasquez in the black and red. Terrell Clark in the black and white.
Terrell comes out in a hurry.
Aggressive start for Terrell Clark, pressing Vasquez against that cage.
But it looked like Terrell was the smaller of the two middleweights. Nice short elbow inside by Cheyenne. He hits it by a left hook. Terrell wants to play.
We said a striker at heart in the pre-fight introduction. Nice jab, rear leg combo by Vasquez.
Very well executed. He's kind of leaning into that jab. That's why he's getting countered.
Vasquez seems intent to establish the jab. Clark coming out with the round hooks. Those big looping left hooks in the right.
Here's a nice shot by Cheyenne. Takes him for a ride. Interesting, Cheyenne stepped over into half guard rather than maintain side control. And Terrell jumped right back up.
Vasquez trying to use those short elbows to drive down Clark's defense.
Clark did a nice job of grabbing an underhook and getting him into the fence. Nice short knee. What Terrell needs to do here is keep his head under Cheyenne's.
Got to watch those elbows to the back of the head.
It didn't look like it was so much to the back of the head. He can elbow the shoulder or the neck. My concern with that, and Kevin took a look at it, was 12-6.
12-6, that's
yeah,
right.
You can't come straight down. If he pulled a little slight angle and twisted at the end, he was fine. Nice right uppercut on the out.
That right did catch him on the way out. 3.5 to go in round number 1. Clark and Vasquez in the middleweight division.
Cheyenne throwing a couple nice head kicks. Well defended. And you can see Terrell doing a great job of checking those kicks as well. Unlike the earlier fight, you see Terrell with a little head movement, slipping a punch or two, and now he scores a takedown.
You would think with those long legs, Vasquez would have the advantage keeping his distance, but Clark doing a nice job shooting in for that takedown.
It's very hard to kick if you're backing up, but when Terrell's pressuring him, he's not going to get a solid kick off. He's going to be off balance and susceptible to that takedown.
2.5 to go in round number 1. Tough spot for Vasquez, Scott. What is he going to do to get out of this?
Well, he did it right there. He did a little wrist control, stopped Terrell from attacking the guillotine. Now you got a tie plum with a couple of short knee exchanges. Nice right elbow by Terrell. Straight right hand by Cheyenne. These guys are really exchanging well. Nice long pepper jab there.
That jab has the potential to be a difference maker for Vasquez with his reach advantage.
It does, and you just saw what happened. Cheyenne throws a rear leg kick, and immediately Terrell comes back with a double jab. You have to answer those, and he did it very well. Cheyenne with another nice takedown.
Scott Ream predicting the action here in round number 1. Nice takedown, as you said, by Vasquez. A $144 to go in the opener. These guys move pretty quick too, Scott. These guys are nimble like featherweights on their feet.
Really big, really agile for middleweights. And you can see here Terrell has a foot in. He's looking for a butterfly sweep, trying to elevate his opponent, get him off balance. He needs to get his right leg. Now he's out of the butterfly. Looked like he was trying to attack that arm bar. Cheyenne did a good job. See, where Cheyenne has his arm fully extended to the back of Terrell's head, that's leaving the arm exposed. Again, both fighters doing well to stay busy. He's got it. Cheyenne has to watch that. When he brings his hand across his throat, he can't have the thumb extended. Cheyenne's doing a nice job of trying to pass, but Terrell's doing a great job of defending. Now, great elbows. Terrell has good defense off his back. He's being active, but he is on his back.
Right, it's a double-edged sword. He's not taking too much damage at this point, but he is in a disadvantageous position. And of course, tough to win the round in this spot.
Oh, very, very tough. Very rarely will you win a round off your back unless you're throwing up tons and tons of submissions and having your opponent defend the whole time. Terrell's looks like he was reaching over for a Kimura sweep. Nice short elbows there. 10-second mark. Both fighters trying to put a little exclamation point on the round.
Last year in round number 1, I thought a great job by
Great
Clark at
first
the end
round.
with those elbows too, Scott, as
Yeah.
you said. Definitely kept Vasquez from gaining too much momentum. But very exciting action, round 1 between these two middleweights that at times move like featherweights, so quick on their feet. Very surprised to see that.
You know, it's a different 185. You'll see some guys that are just enormous, and you see some guys. These guys are more streamlined, and they're very agile.
Think of a Todd Chattel at 185 and the size he brings into the cage. Nothing like what you see from Clark or Vasquez.
No,
You're right, there are
Todd's-
different body types
yeah.
at this weight class.
Nowhere even close to his face. Okay?
You're gonna have to slow it down again,
You're winning that-
Cheyenne.
you're winning that
Slow
round.
the action back now.
Take your time. There's no rush. Just try and explode. Stand on your time, okay? Take your fucking time.
Round number 2 underway. Cheyenne Vasquez in the black and red. Terrell Clark comes out with the big right hand to start the
Double
round.
left hook. Nice follow-up. Both fighters exchanging rear legs very well. Exchanging jabs. Very evenly matched fight. Big overhand right by Cheyenne that landed. Short elbow that missed, but it's the right concept. Your fighter gets inside your defenses like that. Now, Cheyenne did a great job of stuffing that takedown.
Agreed. Nice takedown defense by Vasquez early in round number 2.
It's interesting, Cheyenne's still controlling the chin, which is good head control. Not attacking a guillotine. You might be working that hand in now, but more of a head control and to kind of thwart the takedown first. Now he's got an underhook. He's looking for a second underhook, and he's going to try to reverse positions. Cheyenne trying to get his back off the cage, and he does. Well, very similarly, you're going to see Terrell trying to do the same thing. Play a little chess. Short elbow there by Cheyenne. And Terrell trying for a step over trip. Defended very well by Cheyenne.
This one has evolved into a chess match, as you said,
Yeah.
Scott, here early in round number 2.
Well, what's kind of really interesting is nice short elbows. I really like that when a fighter tries to go for the takedown. Both fighters exchange legs, Mikey, and they both land and they exchange. Both fighters exchange jabs. So it's one of those, whatever you can do, I can do better. And it makes for an interesting fight. Cheyenne looks like he might have some blood in his leg. I don't know if that's his own or his opponent's, but I would venture to guess that that's coming off that elbow, and that's Terrell that's bleeding like that. 2 more elbows.
Yeah, you
Beautifully
see that
landed.
cut, Scott. Looks like it's over the right eye of Terrell Clark.
Nice takedown by Cheyenne. We'll see what he can do with it. Terrell doesn't look overly concerned. It doesn't look like it's going to impair his vision in the least.
So another takedown by Vasquez midway through a round, similar to round number 1. Now we'll see what he does with it this time around.
Right. I wonder if we're lucky we can get a closer view. There it is. And it looks like it's the outside of Terrell's right eye. It's just above the eye, about the eyebrow. It doesn't look to be dripping into the eye at the moment.
If anything, it's stripping away from his eye.
Nice short elbows by Cheyenne trying to grind that in. And now you look at Terrell trying to counter, trying to attack that triangle. He's trying to throw it up. Here comes that, and he did a great job to try to make that attempt. And just by making the attempt allowed the scramble to take place. Cheyenne did a good job of defending it. Half-hearted head kick there by Cheyenne, another shot by Terrell. Terrell's going to try to pin him up against the cage and maybe ankle pick for the takedown.
Again, those elbows from Vasquez as Clark tries for the takedown. Very effective tool. A minute and a half to go in round number 2, and there's the takedown.
Step over. Nice inside trip there.
So Clark turning the tables on Vasquez.
Very evenly matched fight. Very tough fight to score. If Clark finishes the the round on top, I'd be at a loss on how to score it.
It's been tough. It's been a very back and forth round, as you said. No fighter really gaining too much momentum either way.
But yet both fighters still inflicting damage. It's that even.
This final minute will be huge in determining how the judges might score it once that bell rings, if that bell does ring.
Kind of tough. There's a better view. Right now, you're going to see Cheyenne extend his hips, trying to keep Terrell off and create this scramble, create space for the scramble. And there it is. And he shoots underneath the single leg, trying to reverse the takedown position, and he does it very, very well. Terrell has to feel the urgency of this to get up quickly, and you can see him trying. He tried the butterfly to lift Cheyenne up and sweep. Interesting enough, it looks like Terrell's just kind of satisfied to ride this out. Cheyenne's making him pay for it.
More short elbows to close out round number 2 for Vasquez. Kevin McDonald separates the two. Back to the corners. Another tough round to score, Scott. It's hard to tell.
I think I'd give that one to Cheyenne, to be honest with you. There was a kind of back and forth like we talked about, but he seemed to be the one a little more dominant in that round and held top position.
And he certainly finished strong as well, which always goes in favor for the judges. They tend to remember the last thing they might see or the last 35, 40 seconds of a round. And if that is the case, it's a good round for Cheyenne Vasquez.
I wonder if we can get into Terrell's corner, see if we can see what that cut looks like. You can see a big egg knot on the side of Cheyenne's head. I'm very curious why his corner's not applying some ice to that.
Agreed, right above the left eye.
Well, it looks like he's going to
temple.
give birth to something out of his fire.
Well, they're not working on it, interestingly enough, and we know Terrell Clark has that cut over the right eye to the outside, closer toward the ear.
I'd like to see the position of that cut. Maybe we can zoom in on Terrell as the round starts.
Just about ready for round number 3. Here we go. Terrell Clark in the black and white. Cheyenne Vasquez in the red and black.
Overhand right by Cheyenne Lance. I'd like to see him straighten it out rather than kind of slap that punch. Little pepper on that lead kick. Another nice combination. It looks like the minute in between helped him out.
Nice job. Finished with the jab as well.
Terrell trying to find some distance on the inside leg. Makes a shot, and it looks like Cheyenne did a nice job of stuffing it, at least in the immediate.
Goes without saying, these last 4.5 minutes are huge. This could very well be an even fight on the cards.
If either one of those guys are my fighters, I'm going to tell them not only do they need the round, they need to finish. Too close to call. Now you're going to see Cheyenne pop the nice takedown by Terrell. Great scramble there. Cheyenne was getting ready to kind of palm Terrell's face and shorten up the elbow.
Nice quick turnaround by Clark. And again, as we said, these precious few minutes may very well determine who wins this one if it goes to the cards. And right now, Clark in control in round number 3.
As much as this pains me to say, another great job by matchmaker Pat Sullivan.
They're always evenly matched here at CES MMA, and this one is no exception. 3.5 to go in the final round.
Terrell's doing a pretty good job of riding this out, but he's not improving his position. I'd like to see him improve the position or at least do some damage. He needs to kind of cross-face now. There it is.
Vasquez tried for that short elbow, missed. Clark regains position.
That's the hard part. You want to posture up and punch, but you posture up, you're giving space. You have to do it while controlling your opponent.
Certainly easier said than done.
Well, you can see Cheyenne's in a closed guard, or he was, and he has a body lock. He has his hands wrapped underneath, and basically what he's doing is a stall. You can't defend, you can do nothing but defend from this position. Very hard to throw an attack up when you're in a closed guard. There's really nothing you can do. Off your back is what I mean. He's
that right hand, almost sneaks through. And now trying with the elbow, Scott.
He's trying to set the triangle up. Cheyenne's trying to set it up off his back, but Terrell's doing a very good job of staying busy, keeping his hands inside the legs.
Clark letting his hands go in the...
Yeah, Cheyenne doing a great job. The same reverse as the last round. Must be a go-to move for him. Where he makes the scramble, he picks the knee, and then turns the corner.
Going to display how relatively even these rounds tend to be. If Vasquez can be a little more active in this spot, he may get the benefit of a doubt over Clark.
Yeah, I mean, Clark just held that position for pretty close to 2 minutes, and maybe longer. It's interesting. It depends on your perspective as a judge.
1:44 to go.
Somebody has to want it really bad right now, and then go and get it. Cheyenne's really not looking to pass. You can see where Terrell has one arm locked very well, and he's trying to elevate that butterfly. Where he's having a hard time is he's not being able to pull him completely over. He's elevating very well, but he can't make the sweep happen. Needs to kind of sit up a little bit.
For the most part, Scott, these two have just held their ground in this third and final round. And again, you do not want to be in the judge's shoes if this one does go the distance. Another very tough, close fight to score, and we're in the final 50 seconds.
Well, you just saw that. Cheyenne passed the side, and you saw Terrell do a great job of sweep. Now he's attacking the Kimura. Cheyenne needs to straighten that arm out. He needs to keep it straight. If that Kimura goes behind his back, might be in a little bit of trouble here. Cheyenne he has to keep that arm straight. Terrell's going to try to roll it for a sweep. And he stepped over it very well. He's got to watch the spine on those elbows. Great job putting him back on the canvas. How do you score this fight, Mikey? You said it real. And there's the Kimura again. And Cheyenne slips out of it.
Close call twice for Cheyenne Vasquez.
It's a great fight.
Breaks out of it. Yeah, it's been great from start to finish. And it's about to be finished. Final 10 seconds here in this middleweight bout. Cheyenne Vasquez, Terrell Clark going the distance. And we'll see how the judges have it, but very action-packed. And Scott, like a lot of fights we see, this one was a pure grind as it progressed.
And it wasn't a pure grind on the ground either. Both fighters exchanging position against the cage. Both fighters exchanging punches, kicks, knees, and elbows. It was a very well-rounded game shown by both fighters. It's kind of tough to have somebody's O's got to go for this one.
It's true. It's unfortunate. Somebody will quite possibly the first loss for Terrell Clark, or maybe 2-0 at the end of this fight, or possibly the first loss for Cheyenne Vasquez in his pro debut. So again, very tough to score, very close rounds, a lot of action on the ground, and neither fighter really asserting himself in that third and final round like we had hoped they would.
Well, it's funny. I think, again, being so evenly matched, they tried to establish. You saw them try to really put some pressure from top position and reversing off the fence. It was just evenly matched.
Exactly.
You move your pawn, I move my pawn, and both fighters did exactly that tonight very, very well.
The effort's certainly there from the opening bell. We saw a lot of great stand-up in round number one, then the fight really transitioned to the ground game. And again, like we said, just a real slow grind at times. But you see the wear and tear on both fighters. You saw that knot over Vasquez's left eye, the cut over Terrell Clark's right eye. So a lot of damage being inflicted despite not necessarily seeing where the damage was inflicted, but it's there. And someone's going to go away with a hard-fought victory tonight in this middleweight bout. We're about to hear our official decision. And again, just a great middleweight bout. You really have to appreciate the matchmaking and appreciate the proximity and the closeness of this fight. Got to give credit where credit is due. Another evenly matched bout.
Pat does a great job, all joking aside, does a fantastic job. And again, this is, you saw how even that fight was. And it was very exciting. Both guys kept going. It wasn't a bummer. It wasn't sitting there just kind of grinding without anything going on.
All right, we're about to get the final decision. Let's send it down to Bill Carpenter for the particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 5-minute rounds in the cage, let's go to the judges' scorecards for your official decision. Judge Avery scores the bout 30-27 Vasquez. Judge Cordero has the bout 29-28 Clark. And Judge Ginsburg scores the bout 29-28 for your winner by split decision, Cheyenne Vasquez.